Alright, you ready? Oh, yeah, let's come in on camera. Hello everybody, Brook Waters and Margaret from Stickmen Media. And we are talking today, as we're always talking, about the development of, did you say Wild Stallions?
Of course I did.
Right. That's getting to be your standard.
Anybody who hasn't seen Bill and Ted...
We are Brook and Margaret, and we are
sad.
Not Wild Stallions. Margaret can shred guitar though, way better than Bill and Ted. However, I can't. Barely play a CD player. Do they still have those? Everything's an MP3 player.
That's a really good point.
I can play those. All right. So today, what we've got planned is nothing. So we're going to go through some of the stuff previously that we've had a look at on After the Light, and
like a recap.
Yeah,
so what you're
basically,
anticipating?
Yeah, recap the development and where we are, and where we go from here. So, let's start with, if we go back to Lincoln's folder.
We think Sergi's stuff is syncing, but we're not entirely sure.
Okay, I can't see it yet, but...
This is about 100 gigs of stuff in there.
Nothing much then?
Yeah, I was quite surprised to open up and not be able to find it. So, yeah, so I think he's actually got it. It's sort of in his own Dropbox, but not actually in this one.
Oh, you just didn't put a select for syncing.
Okay. Sorry, that was a bit of stuff happening in the background. Oh, why is there just a picture of me up there?
Do you know, I didn't even think to ask.
It wasn't the one I put up there. What I put up there was this one.
There you go. See, that's how non-narcissistic I am.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about it.
Fair enough. Yeah, so those caricatures were done just for this stream of After the Light. We didn't actually have... I should open up Twitch on here. Yeah, we didn't actually have these before, but they've sort of become, I guess at the wrong time, they've sort of become the what would you call it, the thing of Stickmen Media, the representation. There's a word I'm thinking of and it's completely gone.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's what most people think of Stickmen Media. That's you and me doing stuff. And it's probably the wrong time because, of course, recently we got... Yes, the face is off, I guess. We recently got a new CEO. And Sam Ragnarsson, for those that remember when Sam was actually on the show talking about his time at CCP on EVE Online. So he's our new CEO. So we need a caricature of Sam to actually put up there. Or at least... not necessarily for this stream, but for other stuff. Now, Toymaker Concepts, that's where we need to be, right? So, Catacombs. Alright, so the idea for this game came from a story that I wrote called Toymaker, and that Margaret's actually done some editing of, and essentially Toymaker was how we met. It was in those days it had a different name, but the idea was that we would make a game called the Toymaker.
Mm-hmm.
Margaret and her group would do the music, and create a band around it. So we had big ideas about that. Still do have the big ideas. It's just taken a lot longer to get there than we figured. And Stickmen would make the game. Now that was the original Stickmen Studios. Now in Stickmen Media, first of all we had to get enough work in to survive, so this whole project sort of got dropped. And now we've realised that we should probably start in a smaller way and build up to the whole of the Toymaker. So we've taken a portion of the story which takes place in the catacombs beneath the city. And we're doing the game around that as a fixed position zombie shooter, essentially. And what we're looking at here was some of the early concept art for how it actually might look down there. So I think what you're looking at there is actually a raised area that is the bottom of an elevator shaft. That
Yep.
an open elevator actually comes down to descend into the catacombs. Now, having done that, let me go.
It's really interesting how much has moved forward and how far since we did these original
Yeah,
concept pieces, huh?
yeah. And what we decided to do. Did I do that wrong? Yeah, there we go. So what we decided to do was it's actually mentioned in the book that there's actually 3 lots of lighting in these caves, because the moment you do something in the caves or catacombs, you need to have lighting of some sort so that the characters can actually see and move around. And we considered that the very top level of the catacombs would be something that was visited every day, would have caretakers and people actually looking after it, so there would be torches.
We could have had light emitting zombies.
We still can.
Oh,
Right.
cool. And as you kill them off, it gets darker and darker and darker.
The problem with that...
Okay. No, don't throw cold water on my...
All right,
It's just mean.
we'll just leave that. All right. But it turned out we didn't end up using torches at the top level of the caves. What we really wanted, when I say what we really wanted, is it's what I caved on because the art really wanted it, the artist. And it was a really good idea, is they wanted to start off with this cool blue sort of look to the place. So what we settled on was there would be moonlight actually streaming through, as you probably saw back in that first picture. Moonlight streaming through various holes in the roof. So you would actually have this cool blue lighting effect that was quite bright for the above area. And then when you went down further into the catacombs, then you would encounter torches and so forth. So if I can... I just closed the window I needed.
Genius.
I know. I'm not necessarily good at just pulling the stuff out of my backside, but... Well, I am, but I'm not necessarily good on the coordinating my hands and eyes, or hands and mouth, essentially, when I'm doing stuff. So, let me go back to those catacombs. And we'll go to... Let's see if I can find a flamey one. Catacombs E? No, we seem to have lots of
Clearly organised.
catacombs with... there's a firelit area, but you don't get to see much of it there. Let's blow that one up a bit. Yeah. So the firelit areas are essentially the midway down through the catacombs. For gameplay too, this was sort of necessary. So you need to be able to see a lot when you're at the top level, because you're just getting used to the game. You want to be able to see the zombies. You want to get people used to all the mechanics, so trying things and all the rest of it. So if you're trying to teach them in near darkness, then or with deep shadows and all the rest of it, it probably gets a little difficult for the first levels of play. But for the second levels of play, where you've got firelight and your light is sort of flickering and the shadows are quite deep and all the rest of it, where things can actually hide, that sort of introduces another level of complexity, difficulty for playing the game. And I have to say, I was surprised at how well this came together.
Were you?
Yeah.
Why's that?
Just mostly the flames that Lincoln did in the braziers were... I'm surprised we could do that well and keep the frame rate up.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because each flame has emitters both for embers and there's smoke.
Mm-hmm.
There's a heat shimmer as well as the actual flame itself.
There's a lot going
burning.
on.
And yeah.
But they look fucking amazing.
They do. They really do.
As
and
does the water.
the other thing is they look a little dangerous, so we have to actually use those in the game in some dangerous way. So I'm thinking if you can,
Set zombies on fire.
set zombies on fire.
There you go, there's your light emitting zombies. It's not quite what I was thinking.
No.
'Cause if they
Actually,
go and soak themselves in the water first, they're not really going to catch light, are they?
do you know the lower areas? Because the lower areas actually have a green tinted lighting that I don't think we've got an example of here. I think Lincoln did some he did some renders for us, but we actually haven't got the renders in the concept art folder, so I'm just going to have a look and see if we can actually find any. Man, he's got all the concepts for all the
Where is Lincoln anyway?
guys. He's
There
back
he
there.
is.
Hey, Lincoln. Lincoln,
He's got seatbelts on.
can you poke him and tell him to do us a render of one of the green bioluminescent areas? So yeah,
Perhaps we should move on in the meantime.
yeah. So we'll get Lincoln to actually provide us with one of those, so we'll have a talk about it. So that was the cave areas. Sorry, the catacomb areas. Is that
Already been there, that's where we were. There we go, there's bioluminescent.
that's the bioluminescent area? Yes. Okay. So yeah, let's show that. So here the lighting is basically greens and blues. It's probably a little greener now that we've worked into it, because we want to be able to sort of flatten things out and make the shadows less deep.
Which
down
indeed
here.
shadows would be less deep if
Yeah.
there were if there's bioluminescence, because it's going to be a glow, not a
That sort of
ray.
intrudes everywhere. Yeah, it's sort of and so you'll see bits of green fungi or green lichen on the walls, and also mushrooms that are actually emitting this green glow. And that was a bit of a challenge for Lincoln, who had to work out for a way for mushrooms to be a light source.
Yeah.
By setting them on fire. Or the other,
It's pretty much easy to make anything a light source if you set it on fire, isn't it?
yeah. The other thing about this environment is you can see there the niches in the walls where the coffins are.
Brook, do you want to render this area?
Actually, I think we're right. We found something that we can use.
Alright, well,
Yeah.
let me know if you want a render. I've got the niches open.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that cave with the water in it. That's a great thing to. The pool.
So you were saying? Cool,
Yes.
because you're Australian.
Yeah, what you can see here, which is kind of interesting, is
Yeah.
there will be zombies that can't actually get out to attack you, and some that can. So you can see there, so there's a coffin in the niche in the wall right at the front, at the bottom right-hand corner. And so that guy is going to be struggling like anything to get out, but because this coffin is pushed into a niche, he can't actually escape.
Oh, the cruel irony.
So there will be lots of rattling and bumping going on around you in this niche area, where you can't actually... And you need to know that for the music, I guess, because that's part of the ambient.
I need to know an awful lot more than that at this
Yeah.
point, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the things that'll actually be going on there. I guess the other ambient sounds, apart from the clunking and the zombies moaning and talking, essentially, in a very echoey environment. At the top levels there's actually wind. At the bottom levels, the second level, there's a sort of crackling of fire that'll be all around you because of braziers. what else was there? There was. I think that's where the zombie sound is actually more overwhelming and echoey.
Mm-hmm.
Running water. That's the other thing that's persistent in those areas because all of them wind
Persistent?
through and around. They wind through and around waterfalls and underground rivers. So there is a river that actually flows through this cave system, and you see it all over the place. And lots of water dripping through ceilings and things like that.
Mhm.
So water's a persistent feature.
Little distracting sounds, huh?
Yeah.
It might well distract you from the approach of something unpleasant.
Indeed. But the ambience are what you have to work with when you're doing the music or the score, I guess, of whatever this game is. We should actually do a whole stream devoted to that when we've got a better understanding of what it's.
You keep
exactly
saying that, but yeah,
we should call what's his name in for a talk.
not
What's
yet.
your name? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we should have a talk at some stage about that and actually put it on Twitch. So apart from the catacombs, we then had a whole lot of characters. And I guess let's have a look at some of the orthographics. So first of all, most of the orthographics, or most of the characters were done, about a dozen or more characters, male and female, without any orthographics and without any concept art. That process, for those that are interested, involved actually using Make Human to create some base human-looking characters. So these are our freshly dead, they're the ones encountered closest to the top of the catacombs.
This guy's clearly not freshly dead.
Yeah. So yeah, they're a bit fleshy, and they might even have the remains of blood or whatever in them, depending on how long they've been dead. But so there was no concept art to show those. We can probably get a render of them, or we can have a look at Sergi's little staging area. Actually, that's something that we can. Sergi, can you actually do a render of your staging area with the zombies in? Or between you and Linda, can you do us renders of the zombies? All the zombies.
Okay.
King Leon, Boney, and all the fleshies. Yeah. Just grab us a render and... I don't know. Pop it in the Dropbox. Yeah, so a lot of the zombies, our initial thing of zombies, does not actually have concept art to go with it. So we'll get Sergi to do a render and pop those across. Nothing like being unprepared.
I wasn't going to say.
Yeah.
I was just thinking it very loudly.
Are you watching Twitch? Because I'm not watching Twitch.
Yes, it's all good.
very
Don't
good.
need to worry about it.
All
Much
right,
better
so
if you're just talking.
I'll leave it to you. But we did get concept art for some of the special zombies. So this one that we're actually looking at the moment, this guy is, I think, he's nicknamed Boney.
Hey, Cyber
obvious
Aqua,
reasons.
by the way. Carry on.
Oh, right, okay. So Boney is essentially in the lower levels of the catacombs where the military dead are buried. So again, the lower you go down, the more military dead you actually encounter. And the difference between the military dead and the civilian dead is the military dead know how to fight. So the zombies are necessarily harder as you move down through the catacombs. So that was a nice sort of mechanic that we threw in there. And indeed, that's the way it was in the story too. But the story was always written with a view to having a game. Yeah, so here's Boney. So he's got a pokey thing he can poke you with, a sword thing he can slash you with.
You thought you were talking a bayonet, is that what you were...
Yeah. Pokey thing on his rifle is the bayonet, yes.
Pokey, stabby, slashy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Pokey, stabby, slashy. What were the other four dwarves?
cheesy lame-o and
Yeah,
oh my god, I can't believe you made that joke.
it sounded like dwarves'
Yeah.
names.
Right, carry on.
Apologies to Peter Dinklage.
Apologies to everyone.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So Boney's a special character in the game. He's one of a few. So if we can back out of here, I will
Please.
try and here's somebody you are not going to see in the game because this guy actually turned my stomach.
Hang on a sec. So Cyber Aqua says this is more similar to Left 4 Dead 2. Like, will this be more of a single player or more of a co-op?
Initially, it's going to be single player. Yeah.
Initially.
Yeah. Well,
However.
we're leaving it open as to whether we actually continue with it single player. So certainly early releases, it's single player. Yeah. So this guy, the story behind this guy is actually eating his own insides. So.
Our artist, Lincoln, is very dark. He's the quiet ones you've got to watch, I tell you. Not that Lincoln's that quiet, but he doesn't give that impression necessarily.
No.
Right off the bat. But wow.
But yeah.
He's got some great ideas.
When Grenadiers go bad. They're not the Grenadier Guard, are they? They're the Highland Guard, the ones with the black busbies.
Don't know. But anyway, I mean, I guess that guy can't really easily get around to eat other people's innards, so what you going to do?
Yeah. Oh, just realised we're accumulating those.
But it's nice that you decided to show that particularly nice one.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want people to miss out just because I'm squeamish about it.
Fuck no. Are you going for more orthographics?
Orthographics. This one's called Orthographics Fleshy Man. So let's see. Oh, it's Cross-Eyed Joe. So here's another dude
There he is.
that you'll see in the game.
Nice pair of trousers.
Cross-Eyed Joe. Yeah. So semi-respectable,
It's
but
quite elegant.
but he's had a few years below ground, so you can see there's not much flesh left on him.
He wouldn't have had years though, because he's still got something on his face.
Well, his arms are skeletal unless the rats have been at him,
Well, they must have been, because
and his chest is showing through.
he's got flesh on his. He's got lips and stuff, so can't have been completely.
How do I give you the folder? Because it's syncing all the 100 gigs.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be syncing for a while, I guess.
Yeah. Do you want it in your hard drive or something?
No, not really, because I'm using the hard drive.
No. Okay.
So I don't know.
I can send it to you.
Email it to me.
Email.
Yeah.
Also.
Oh no, Slack it to me. Slack it to me.
Slack it to me, slack it to me, slack it to me, slack it to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got Slack. Slack it to me. Cool. All right. So yeah. So Cross-Eyed Joe. So currently, Bony Man and Cross-Eyed Joe have the animations that all the fleshies have. So they've all got the same animations. Then there's extra animations added to the soldier so that he can do sword play. But Cross-Eyed Joe is still fairly standard. And we were discussing this morning in this morning's stand-up about this guy. If we can actually capture that the way he's crooked, the way he leans to one side and forwards in his animations, so that we can make his animations a little unique and more based on what he looks like here.
What, a sort of spastic, drunken...
Well, yeah, we want
skeleton.
that lean and tilt to him.
Well, he wouldn't be likely to have a well-balanced gait, would he, under the circumstances?
No. I wonder if he had problems in life that led him to being deformed, or if this is just, his ribs got hitched together at some point.
Slack it to me. That sounds kind of sounds weird. No offence.
It does.
Yep.
It does. All right. So that's
Brook's
Cross-Eyed
a weird
Joe.
kind of guy.
I'm known
You're
for
a
it.
weird kind of guy. You sounded like you're going to be defensive for a second. That was going to be silly.
No. So let's have a look at this guy. So this guy is so he was made from one of our fleshies, one of our normal fleshy zombies, but we gave him some significant differences in his animations. So this is the sniffer, and this is the guy you did the reference for the animation, and the reference was brilliant, really.
That
Really
itself
like
is
that.
concerning.
Yeah. Actually, we can probably pull that up if you would like, because I think that's worth a look.
Half of this is going to be us searching around for files.
Yeah. But, you know, this is what happens when you don't prepare, Margaret. Not that it's your fault.
No.
We do this every day. Every single day we have to make sure there's some footage, all the rest of it. It was
Except
inevitable
today.
that sooner or later we would slip up. We would get busy and we wouldn't be able to do it. So I am just going to go to Linda's movies, and we're just going to play King Leon, SK Soldier, tween animations for King Leon, Crawl. Oh, I can't find the sniffer. Oh, there it is, sniff. So let's look at... Okay, so we should be launching a movie now that actually shows...
We should be. Oh, look, we've gone fractal for a sec.
This is the sniffer zombie actually being animated by Linda. And I love this process, this rotoscoping process. The results turn out so good. I mean, not like pure mocap, but nonetheless really, really good. And more video game-ish. You know, mocap's great for the movies because you don't have to correct anything or turn things to animation cycles.
This possibly has its own character, though, I'm thinking.
Let me just scrub through and see if I can find the bit I want. There it is. Okay. So if you have a look there, there's Margaret being put up on the background as the reference. Doing one of your finest pieces of acting
Yeah.
for the role.
Yep. That's a winner.
Yeah. And of course our zombie sniffer being lined up with Margaret. Now, when we did this, it turns out we only had one view, wasn't it? Was that right? We had one view and then...
No, I think it was another one that we only had.
Oh, was it? Okay,
one
so
view
we've
of,
got
yeah.
this one.
Yes, we do.
Alright, so we should end up with two videos of Margaret actually doing this, one from the side and one from the front, that Linda will synchronise at some point. So let me just speed this up a bit. So we can see as the first pose is created. We'll really go nuts here.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So the sniffer zombie essentially had to... in the game, this guy serves a very specific function. So if a sniffer zombie is anywhere in the scene, he will find you. No matter where you are, he will find you because
Just
he will
a
be
matter of
sniffing
time.
and sniffing. The matter of time thing is exactly what his function is. So he's the timer between the beginning of the game or the beginning of the level and what has to be the end of the level when he finds and attacks you. So
One way or the other.
yeah, so his timer function is really what's important, but the creepiness of that timer function, you know, this guy sniffing around and slowly coming closer and closer to you, is you know, I think that's the magic part.
It's a special, ugly kind of
There's
magic.
Another couple of things about the sniffer is one, he is very tough. One shot will not kill him with any weapon. So if you shoot him with a bullet, he won't die, but he will scream. And when he screams, every other zombie will be attracted to that sound, so they will run towards you. The way we wanted to use him was to make sure that he was the last thing killed, because you didn't want to attract the horde. But he would be slow enough in acting that you would have the opportunity to kill the rest of the horde before he actually got to you, and then you would have to deal with him. 2 shots, bang bang.
You're dead.
Yeah.
Where you come from?
Wow, you really go deep there. That made that animation so good.
Well, you did tell me to go face down and sniff the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could have got on all fours.
Are you sure we had side vision here? Some seemed to only have that.
Yeah.
Firing scarf looking
Yeah, it was a running one that we didn't. We didn't have front vision because you didn't give Linda the footage from the big camera, so she only had from the side.
And that was this one?
No, this is from the front.
No, this is from the side. The front would be facing that way, right? Because we're looking at the back wall there. We're looking at that wall.
The camera always faces the door, but we don't really need to fight about it now.
No. Yes, so if we were facing the door, then that's the view from...
Like I said, we probably don't need to fight about it now.
How defensive you get when I'm right.
Oh my god.
Alright. So enough of the sniffer.
Cyber accuracy, that's an interesting mechanic for the sniffer.
Yeah. Yeah, I really thought so. I thought that was a cool thing. Now, if
I
we
like
can
that
go
it's got
to...
kind of 2 functions though. I think the timing and the screaming is a nice
Yeah.
combination.
So King Leon is the...
Doing the screaming sound effect, that's going to be fun.
yeah.
That's possibly not something
I
we'll be
imagine we'll
doing
have
here
volunteers
in
for
the
that.
building.
We'll have volunteers all wanting to do that. So here's
Imagine doing that here.
in the building.
Yeah,
I think we need to go to the
Fucking
studio for that.
brilliant. That's what I was just saying.
Are we going to Riverside?
I don't know.
Riverside would be a great studio to scream at. How quiet is their booth?
How would I know?
I don't know either. Yeah. We should ask if we can scream. So here's King Leon. So King Leon is our boss. So he's the last guy you encounter. He has all sorts of nasty tricks up his sleeve. He has 3 attacks essentially that cascade one after the other. So essentially, if he gets close enough to you and attacks you, you will die in that first attack. So you do not get the chance to have him come close to you, whack you, and leave you at half health or something
Live
like that.
to tell the
You're
tale.
actually going to die if he hits you. So you're
He's quite a hefty fella.
yeah, he's got a hefty weapon, even if his arms are a little skinny. But
I know, it's amazing how he wields that thing, how he hefts that weapon with his bones.
but your task, your purpose is really to actually keep him away from you. So he's wearing armour, but a bullet in the chest will make him stagger backwards. Or indeed anywhere. So shooting him in the head's probably good. Shooting him in the chest probably wouldn't kill him no matter how often you do it. So you've got to basically shoot him in the head, I think, to kill him. Although we haven't entirely decided that.
There's a lot of little decisions that are going to have to be tied up, huh?
Yeah, and some of it will emerge in gameplay. We'll do it one way and then we'll see how it goes, and then if it doesn't go so well, we'll change it. We do intend to be very responsive to people that are testing for us. So when if people like things or don't like things, we want to find out and change them. So King Leon was... actually, I've seen a number of versions of this guy, but this one's probably my favourite so far.
Why is that?
Just because he doesn't just look mean, he does look kingly, he does look like royalty.
I can't remember the other versions. Were they not as kingly?
Probably the closer one was one done by our very first concept artist before he left us.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, I guess, he was more knightly than kingly, I think. But so that he was probably the closest. One of the things that concerned me about him is he had a chainmail cape, and that chainmail cape I felt was probably not going to translate well to a 3D model.
Mm-hmm.
This guy does have a little cape, as you can see at the back, but it's old and rotted away, so not really a problem for us. It does move around when he moves, because Linda put a couple of bones in it. But yeah, you can see bright shiny armour, his leather skirts, his metal and leather pauldrons. He's just got that, but then the openness of his helmet so that you can see his face and all the rest of it. He's got that kingly sort of bearing, especially when he's holding that sword like that.
So Cyber Aqua says, will there be a boss on each level like a mini boss, or is it more at the end of the game?
So this guy is entirely for the end of the game, but there are probably likely to be mini bosses on each level made up of things like Cross-Eyed Joe, the Bunny Man. So that'll be on each level of the cave system rather than each level in the game, because there are like 60 levels and there won't be 60 bosses, but there are. So that's what we've been calling levels, and the rest we've been calling stages, I think. So 3 stages, 3 bosses. King Leon is the final. Yeah. The animation for this guy. Let's see if we can find Linda's animation for it, because that's. Let's have a look at. First of all, King Leon walking. Sorry, these take a while to launch.
I'll say.
Yeah.
In fact, is it going to? I don't think
I
it's
don't
even
know.
trying.
I'm going to drink my tea and just not worry about it.
Oh, good. Nice attitude.
Right.
Whoa, this is
Yeah, let's slow that down a
that's
bit.
quite quick. This is coma-inducing. Fractals, so cool. Have we just been here?
I went crazy, and what I did was, instead of going backwards, I actually changed the speed. So, all right.
We've just seen this video.
So, well, you've seen bits of it. It shot forwards so fast that nobody could see it. But essentially, I got to do the reference videos for the animations of King Leon, and that was a lot of fun. So we have a camera tripod here.
That's not King Leon, though, is it?
We were looking for. Let's speed it up a bit and then pause. Oh no, that's still the sniffer. So we had a camera tripod that we were using to. Well, we hunted around for ages for something. We had broomsticks and all sorts of things we're actually going to use as King Leon's sword. It's probably easier if I just step through that rather than go too fast. And we found a camera tripod that turned out to be ideal. What we did was we taped the 3 legs together so that we had this long trapezoid sort of shape, and holding it by the, what do you call that thing that the camera actually sits on?
The thing that the camera sits on.
Yeah.
Bracket?
So there's a part of the tripod that actually winds in and out and can move the camera up and down. So that sort of gave us the shaft of the sword, and we used that for creating our sword blade. Let me get. No, that's all you. Ah, there we go.
Slow it down. This is awful. It just is so painful to watch.
Right. Okay. Well, let me. Aha.
I'm just
You're just what?
not enjoying that.
Right. So here we go. So here at 1 times speed, and this was probably already playing at 4 times speed, but
Looks like Lord of the Dance.
so yeah. So here we are. So that was you clapping in front of the camera, and there's me with the camera tripod on my shoulder, actually doing the reference attacks. Let's see if I can slow that down a
They're
bit
missing
more.
me every single time.
Let's- I'm not sure if that's going or not.
Well, if the speed is
Right.
0.2 of something, then it's very slow indeed, isn't it?
Yes, well, it's a third of the speed of something that's been speeded up 3 times, so that should be close to normal. There we go. So that's me doing an overhander attack. And you can see that camera tripod really served well as a sword because it had the length even if it didn't have the weight. And it allowed me to look strong because it does look like it's a heavy thing, and it's in fact not.
Look at all your ballet training coming out.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
It sounds vaguely defensive or sarcastic, but I actually meant it. I mean it.
Okay. I'm not sure that my ballet training trained me for swordsmanship.
No, just
Man, that's a bit blurry.
yeah, this bit isn't going very well.
Is that how the video was transcoded? Is that?
I don't know.
But yeah, anyway, so that was doing the reference video for it. And then of course Linda uses the reference video, or both planes of the reference video. I think what she's trying to do is get them matching up now. So the first frame of the two, what the view from the side and the view from the front, so that she can use them in Maya as reference panes. Yeah. So I thought we were going to do the walk here too, but it looks like we're just doing them.
Yeah,
The battle.
I'm not enjoying watching this all pixely.
But anyway, so the walking. There we go. That's better. So the walking animations with King Leon, he actually drags that sword behind him. So he will normally be walking towards you, and the sword will be over his shoulder when he's attacking. So either walking or running towards you with the sword over his shoulder, ready to attack, or you will have hit him, and he will be standing back a little and walking around the circumference of this area where he's fighting you. And as he's walking around, he would be dragging the sword behind him, and in response to him dragging the sword across the ground, zombies are actually basically coming in to attack you. So between attacks from him, you will have attacks of hordes of zombies that you'll have to fend off.
No rest for the wicked.
I imagine this is a place where you need unlimited ammunition, probably.
Too easy.
Yeah. Because we're expecting you'll have to kill lots of zombies and still deal with King Leon. Yeah,
Now
that was fun to do. That was actually supposed to be this one. this is what was what I was actually looking for as I did that one.
So this is...
So this should be the animations for King Leon's walking. Is it the same one? Let's speed it up and... Yeah, that looks like the same one. Yep.
Okay.
Let's zoom right
okay.
through and see if
Oh,
we can
God.
get to walking. No. Okay, mislabeled movie there.
I can't watch that.
You can't?
No.
Bit of a bit squeamish about strange things. Ah, there we go. That's the walking.
You're the one who gets migraines from a little bit of flickering shadow when you're driving.
Okay. Yes, I do. Let's get this right back to half speed, shall we say. So yeah, here we are. So King Leon's been actually put on the front frame. So we'll line him up with where I am. So one of the things that actually happens with when you're doing these animations is you actually want to take the motion out of the animation, and by that I mean the actual movement from one place to another, because you want to do a loop that's in place, and that way the game engine actually gets to decide how far you move as you walk.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally I should have been on a
Treadmill.
and just walked in place, but because we didn't have that option, I basically walked across the floor. And what Linda actually did was she worked out ways to actually stop the character moving forwards. In this case, what she is doing is deliberately, I think, moving the character forwards with me, and then later she cancels out that.
That's right. Yes, she does.
That translation.
Yep.
Which was a really clever technique and worked well for us. Yeah, so this is the part where he's walking with the sword over his shoulder rather than dragging it behind him. There's a whole other segment of him dragging it behind him. There, me as King Leon.
Look like your mates there.
Yeah.
Like they're holding hands, actually. It's a bit fucking weird. But okay. On a number of fronts.
Yeah.
There's King Leon levitating past the chair.
It's all okay these days.
What, holding hands with zombies?
Yeah, well... I was going to say holding hands with royalty, really. But
Oh.
probably not.
Yep.
What's
Yeah.
Linda done there? She's pushed his legs forward.
He's like, what the fuck? He had a quick stop.
Yeah, but anyway, that's that's that stuff. So King Leon,
Yeah, a man can hold hands with a zombie all he wants these days and nobody even blinks.
indeed.
In public.
So we've got lots of props, but I'm not sure that props are really... In the last 10 minutes of the show, or 9 minutes of the show, we don't necessarily want to show the props, but what we can do is show some of the marketing stuff that we've actually... Some of the marketing banners that we've done based on the stuff we've got. So let me... So this is one of the things that you have to do.
You keep missing the X.
Man,
What are you doing?
I'm trying to close this down.
What are you doing, Brooklyn?
It wants to record. I just want to quit. Oh, there we go. Quit. Very
Press
good.
the quit button.
Yeah, so one of the things you have to do with marketing stuff is you need banners of all sorts of sizes and shapes and all the rest of it. So stuff that's box art, even though we don't physically have a box. But yeah, stuff that'll sort of go down the left-hand side of an article you might write about it, or something that'll appear in full. So here's a couple of our long banners. So there's Cross-Eyed Joe taking pride of place on that one. And as you can see, our Toymaker logo is on each of these. Let's see what else
I'm just
I can
going to
do.
shut that door because
Yeah,
people are making bizarre noises outside.
that is getting tricky. All right. Just to close up this, so this is the actual After the Light logo. So we're preserving the Toymaker brand in presenting After the Light, just so that when we bring out the next Toymaker game, people sort of know what to expect, even though we don't quite know what we're going to do with the next game.
Neck game? Is that like neck minute?
No, the next game, I said. I'm pretty sure I didn't say neck, although I might have, in which case
Yeah. You just
I
might have.
apologise, that was wrong. So yeah, the bony guy is a marketing banner with one of the beautiful blue-green levels behind us, so lots of bioluminescence actually happening in there. I'm just trying to... not
If zombies
have
were
too
emitting
much
light, if
open.
there were light emitting zombies, what colour light would they emit? do you
Green.
think? No, that's boring. We've done bioluminescence.
Well, I'm sorry, what? What would you like?
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
You're asking me
What-
what you
what
would
would-
like?
Yes.
Well, let me see.
What would be natural to come out of a zombie, do you think? What sort of light would be natural to come out of a zombie?
Okay, so in the story, when they're stripped of their souls by one of Coppelia's attacks, there's a blue light that departs them.
There you go.
So blue, do you think?
Maybe.
So they... I was about to say glow blue, but I almost said blow glue, which was completely nonsensical.
But funny.
Zombie,
I said but.
zombies glow blue when orcs are near. Yeah. So, and this one is actually not box art. What would you actually call this?
I don't know. It's a banner.
There's a name for this banner, but there is a name for what this actually is. So it's not like this is not an in-game thing, but it's meant to imply the in-game gameplay. So rather than just being an environment and a zombie, there's actually a name for it, and for the life of me I can't think of it. But no doubt when I'm sitting down writing the Sony proposal, I'll come up with it. It'll occur to me. Yeah. So this guy, just to explain this picture, on the left there, that is the player character, that is you, and of course the other guys are the zombies. You will be carrying a choice of weapons. So originally in the story, so we depart from the story a little here, because that guy, Elias, actually carries a pistol, a rifle and a sword when he's actually doing his stuff, and along the way he does get to use a couple of other weapons, but for the purpose of this game his weapons are a pistol, a crossbow and a grenade launcher, because who would have a zombie game that doesn't have an area effect weapon where you can blow their limbs off and so forth? So we do have to have the grenade launcher. Yeah. So I guess to finish off is where we are at the moment. So there's been an awful lot of artwork done. I think we've got about 45 of our 60 levels actually in hand or done. So 15 to go. Lincoln is currently working on the boss fight level. So that's actually 2 levels. You'll start off on one floor and you fall through when it explodes, and you end up on the next floor, where there is the entrance to the halls of the dead and a large area for actually fighting. And that area is actually fog surrounded, so there's lots of blue light coming in from the sides, so that's quite an unusual level. So that's where you'll actually encounter King Leon. We have almost all the props made, so I think Linda is animating the crossbow today, which is the only one of the weapons that takes or that has a difficult, I guess, animated sequence. It's not difficult, but it's, involved animated sequence, because you will fire the crossbow, which will result in the string actually retracting away from you really fast, so we don't have to do that in any that can even be from one state to another, out and closed, and you'll just believe that that's what happened, that the string actually went junk. But what happens then is a gas canister at the back of the weapon actually causes it to reload, so the drum will rotate to put another bolt in place, then the string will be drawn back ready for the next shot. So there's quite a long reload time, several seconds, so quite a time between actually firing that weapon. But yeah, so Linda's actually working on the animation for that. The animation from the gun is simply a recoil, although we have discussed actually having, because it's a revolver, flicking out the cylinder, dumping the bullets, popping in a new speed loading a new set of 6 bullets, closing it, and firing again. So that would be another animation, but at this stage that would be more of a polish idea, so if we decided it would need it towards the end, we'd do that. Our first big milestone is June 6th, so our playable demo should be available on June 6th, and at that stage we'll be getting people in to play the hell out of it and give us lots of feedback. Anything else we need to say about the props? We've got barrels
Not
and
that I can think of, but we're just about
coffins and bits of rubbish and
done.
stuff. But yeah, so the game's come a long way since the beginning of the year. We're really looking forward to that June 6th release, so that we can get some opinions locally. We want to get all the opinions we can in New Zealand before we actually go and and act on them, get this thing really polished and looking fantastic by the time we do early access release in October, when hopefully we'll be running with the full set of levels, because that June 6th release will just be using 10 of the levels that have been polished. In October we'll be releasing with all the levels, all the gameplay, everything actually in there, with the hope of actually adding some other features, and we don't know what those features are after early release and after being tested, just to make sure that we're really capturing the market there, because we really want this to be a success. We really want to make number 2 and number 3 of it. Anyway, that's us for today. Brook and Margaret, mostly Brook. Margaret with a bit of ribbing occasionally.
Brook does have a lot of words to say.
Yeah. Margaret said earlier, can you talk through an hour? I went, yeah, easy. 45 minutes of that is me going,
Yeah.
as we're waiting for things to load.
Thank you, Cyber Aqua, for being with us again.
Yes, thank you for chatting with us, Cyber Aqua. Didn't see the Swee Henrik today, but nice to see when our regulars do pop in. So we'll be back tomorrow when we've got something a little more structured. I'm not sure what, but it will be a little more structured. So Brook and Margaret, as usual, streaming the development of After the Light, our fixed position zombie shooter horror game. So 1 p.m. tomorrow, New Zealand Standard Time, that's UTC plus 12. We'll see you all then, so bye for now. You can wave. Well, you don't have
I
to.
can.